From Hollywood. Welcome to the Rat's Ass Podcast with Mojo Elliott.
It's party time. P-A-R-T. Why? Because I gotta.
Oh boy, do we have a good one for you today. If I do say so, my damn self. Happy hump day, my fiends. I don't know about you, but I am medicated and sedated and ready for another action-packed adventure, so let's get her done. Here's what's on tap on the Wrap. I have stepped into the devil's den again, and this time it could be fun. Are we going to war? We'll explore. 1 million illegals take the money and run, and if you won't listen to me, hell, maybe you'll listen to Mel. And does the Indiana fever need a goon? Another round of head trauma is on the way. Today we're going to play the mystery voice, so get ready. Plus our usual lunacy and loose behavior. That's what's coming up today on the Rat's Ass Podcast for Wednesday, June 18th. Thanks for pressing that play button wherever you listen to the Rat's Ass Podcast and being here with us. All right, I got wind of a new media app yesterday called Substack. Are you familiar with it? Now, as a rule, when a new app is introduced, you join before somebody else can grab the name or your name and hold you for ransom, and you want to put a placeholder there just in case it becomes the next big thing. Not seeing it here with Substack, but at least we're there. Now, Substack is where content creators like myself get to go and post their work. Like other apps, like we need another one, but people can go read, watch, or listen to the content. Little did I know, though, Substack is a den for Democrats like Blue Sky. So I'm thinking, yeah, wait till you get a load of me. Now, to be forthcoming, I doubt I play too much on this app. Just depends on how popular it gets. Blue Sky came out blazing. Everybody thought Democrats are going to run from X to Blue Sky. Well, they didn't. I focus mainly on X, YouTube, and TikTok. But I have placeholders in place on Facebook, Instagram, Truth Social, of course, Blue Sky, a couple of others I can't recall off the top because there are so damn many, and now Substack. But you can get my content on Alexa, most podcast apps, and you can connect to everything on the ratsasspodcast.com website. So why do I need Substack? I don't, but I will enjoy throwing barbs with the Dems from time to time when I get bored. You know I enjoy it. The question on everybody's mind, though, are we going to war with Iran? I'm going to say it's possible. You know, Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah, Ali Khamenei, is 86 years old. He's lost his top military advisors. He's out there swimming by himself. Is it possible he's lost his damn mind? He may just want to go out with a bang and think he's taking the whole damn world with him, especially the United States and Israel. Now, this is not the time for our friends, the Democratic Party, to be playing their childish games called oppose Trump. No matter what he does, you know they take the opposite side. And right now they're trying to paint him as a dictator, and this will play right into their hands no matter what he's doing, okay? But between you and me, I think they'll step on their dicks like they always do. But this time, though, I'm afraid it's going to cost American soldiers their lives. So I'm going to ask our Democratic friends, please, for the love of Christ, put the politics aside for a change and show that you're an American and that you root for America. Just once, please. My other concern is this. For 4 years, we had an open border. How many people came across that we have no idea who they are and where they are? Is it possible we have Iranian sleeper cells in the United States? I'd say a pretty damn good chance that we do. And will they look at this as their opportunity to rise up? So I don't want to be an alarmist, but I think you have to be prepared for anything at this point. Did you see the news where just over 1 million illegals have taken up Donald Trump on his offer to self-deport? Over 1 million so far. And this program's only been in place, a couple of months? There were 0 illegals let in at the southern border in May, too, which is pretty cool. The president is getting our house in order. That's what he was elected to do. He's getting it done. And the globalist Democrats, though, oppose Trump. Of course, they're going rat shit over it. Yesterday, Ilhan Omar, I'm sure you're familiar with her. She's the immigrant from Somalia and a U.S. representative from Minnesota who wears the hijab. Now, in America, we just call it a durag. But she was complaining about Trump's deportation tactics and went as far as to bash the 250th military parade that was actually, to his credit, Joe Biden was planning this, from what I understand. And Trump picked up on it, said it's a great idea, let's roll. So they had it on Saturday. Think about what it did for recruitment, too, by the way, for our U.S. military, our men in uniform. But I think here's why so many Americans despise Democrats like Omar. The military budget, I read, was $2 billion a year, so they can go out and recruit people for the Big Four, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, now Space Forces as part of that. Trump's 250th Army anniversary parade cost about $45 million. They went, oh my God, $45 million for a parade. Well, it's only 2.25% of the military budget. 2.25%. That's it. Think about what it might do for recruiting. Recruiting's up anyway. Maybe this will improve it even more. But where were these Democrats when brain-dead Joe Biden left $7.12 billion of U.S. military equipment behind in Afghanistan? Where were they? What did we hear from them? That's what we heard from them. Nothing. Oh, it's okay, because we're Democrats, and whatever we do, it doesn't matter how much we shit. Doesn't matter how much it stinks. It's okay, because we're Democrats. But that's almost 4 times the amount of the U.S. military recruitment budget for 1 year. The hypocrisy is deafening from this party. Yesterday, Oscar-winning actor Mel Gibson, who in the 80s and 90s was a pretty big deal. He was probably, I would say, one of the top 3 leading men in Hollywood, but he fell out of favor one night when he went on a drunken anti-Semitic rant one night. It was captured on film when he was pulled over by the police. And he was kind of blacklisted for a lot of years. Well, he's not happy about our California slumlord governor, Gavin Newsom, or LA Mayor Karen Bass either. Now, sometimes I talk about it, but sometimes maybe you don't need to hear it from me. So maybe you will believe Mel Gibson. Here's what he said about him yesterday.
Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass have already proven their incompetence and poor leadership during the Los Angeles wildfires. Now, as we experience rampant lawlessness and civil unrest, it's never been more clear California's in a state of turmoil. And I ask my fellow Angelinos, why are Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass still in office? How much more of their destructive decision-making masquerading as leadership are we going to tolerate? It's time to take back our community and our state and put the power and the privilege in the hands of competent leaders whose goals are to protect us and the way of life this nation was founded upon and promises to offer. That's all.
I'm not alone in all of this. And the more and more people I talk to, many are Democrats too. They hate the idea of going against their precious Democratic Party, but they're fed up with these 2 knuckleheads, Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass. 7 years ago, California had a $2 billion surplus. Now we have a $1.6 billion deficit we're dealing with. Under Gavin Newsom. That is a $3.6 billion reversal. And if that doesn't spell incompetence, ladies and gentlemen, nothing does.
His jock is always on way too tight. Here is Mojo Elliott with Rat Sports.
Oh, God, she has no idea I'm a hang loose kind of guy. All right, we have a new Stanley Cup champion, my fiends. Once again, it is the Florida Panthers who spanked Edmonton last night 5-1 to hoist the hardware of Lord Stanley's Cup to go back-to-back. I picked Edmonton this series because I thought, well, Canada's due, so I need to drop and give America 20 because I went against my homeland. But I'll just, if you don't mind, I'll just have a nice big plate of crow. Tomorrow night, the Oklahoma City Thunder could win their first NBA title when they play Game 6 against the Indiana Pacers. Now, we said the winner of Game 5 wins the championship 74% of the time, but still, if Indiana wins, we're looking at a Game 7. But maybe again, too. The Thunder could put a cherry on top tomorrow night and put an end to this NBA season so we can get into the offseason. That's what a lot of us NBA fans are waiting for. Let's just get this over with so we can get to all the debauchery and the fun of the offseason, the trades. Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a crazy offseason for the NBA. But as you know, I took OKC to win it all. And, man, I don't want to eat crow 2 times back-to-back. OKC, let's get this done, okay? Caitlin Clark has been getting the hell beat out of her this season. You thought it was bad last year? It's twice as bad this year. Last night I'm watching the game against the Connecticut Sun, and they bounced her around like a frickin' pinball machine. It was like ding-ding, 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 ding-ding. And as I'm watching this, I'm thinking, the Fever, they need to go get an enforcer. In hockey, they call it a goon. And their job is just to beat the hell out of somebody who trips or does bodily harm to the star of the team. I mean, Edmonton did it years ago with Wayne Gretzky. The Penguins did it with Mario Lemieux. Dennis Rodman was an enforcer for Michael Jordan. LeBron doesn't need one because he's like 6'8", 590. No, he's 6'8", 280? He doesn't need an enforcer. He's his own enforcer. Now, the Fever have a player named Aaliyah Boston. She's 6'5", 220 pounds. She could be an enforcer, but she's too important to play in the middle. They need her to be, one of the star players. She averages, 15 to 19 points a game, for crying out loud. So she can't be the enforcer. So they need to make a trade. They need to make a trade because I think they need a goon. So when they step on the court, they go, uh-oh, she's here to screw somebody up, and they'll just leave Caitlin Clark to her game. She still put up 20 points last night. 20 points. I think she had 6 rebounds, 1 assist. Not really her best game as far as rebounds go, but what do you expect, man? They were just trying to beat the living hell out of her last night. All right, and that's sports on the Wrap.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
All right, who's ready to play the mystery voice? I want you to listen real close and tell me who you think this favorite celebrity is. And he's an all-time favorite celebrity. I'll give you a little hint on it. Here we go. You ready?
I was asked to play the lead in it.
Let's listen again.
I was asked to play the lead in it.
Mm-hmm. He was asked to play the lead in it. Who can that be? Kick it around, marinate on it, overthink it. I'll have the answer for you coming up a little bit later on here on the Rat's Ass Podcast.
It's time for some loose behavior on the Rat's Ass Podcast.
All right, well, let's get into this. We call it Saw It on the X. Here's what's happening in the Rat's Ass Podcast X feed. The Wise Connector posted this one. Have you ever quit a job on the spot? Sometimes the names are worth just giving you the responses. This came from Paulie the Cracker. Paulie the Cracker. Anyway, he said he worked as a dishwasher in a restaurant in Chicago when he was in college, and the boss was a real prick. He said, I planned this. On the busiest night of the week, when the restaurant was packed, I let the dishes get stacked as high as possible, and when the boss came in, started yelling at me, I took my apron off and threw it in his face and walked out. He quit on the spot. Yeah, I'm sure the boss had to grab a rag and a sponge right then. All right, Kathy Westmoreland said, I was a sports reporter on a local TV show in Indianapolis, and while during a report, my producer was being a dick, like Fleabag can be sometimes. I just put up with it because he's so damn good at what he does. I'm just kidding, Fleabag, you're not. I got so frustrated, she said, that I quit live on the air, and I couldn't get a TV job again. Well, Kathy, I'm sorry that happened to you, but that's the point, man. Stations aren't going to take a chance. That was career suicide right there. And by the way, Fleabag, you are the best. I just want to tell you that. Wiggy. You might not believe this, but I went AWOL from the Army about 12 years ago. I was stationed in Alaska, and I hated that frickin' place so bad. On a cold winter night, I snuck out and disappeared. Bada bing, bada boom, I was gone, and they haven't found me yet. I think that's a good story for ex-Wiggy, but I'm not buying it. I did it once myself. And if I've told this story before, forgive me, because I tell it all the time. I was summer of my senior year in high school. I was trying to get enough money together to go further my education. Didn't want to rely on a loan that I wouldn't pay back, right? It was a manufacturing plant near Pittsburgh where I lived, and the locals referred to it as the Finger Factory. So upon accepting the job, it was the only place hiring, by the way, and I needed the money, so I took the damn job. And as they handed me a hard hat, metatarsal gloves, steel-toed boots, and took me on a tour of the line, let me know where I'd be working. As I met people going through this line, I swear to God, just about everybody was missing a finger or two. And we got to the end of the line. He said, this is where you're going to be working, and we'll have so-and-so overlook you to make sure that you're safe. And I said, you know what? Took the hat off, handed the gloves and the boots to him, and I walked out barefoot. And I said, you know what? Mother Palm and her 5 daughters refused to be separated. And I quit right there. No way I was going to do battle with the Finger Factory. All right, we're going to take a break, and I'll be right back after we have this message.
Are you a liberal, ready to scream into the void about immigration, but tired of lighting cars on fire? Well, we have several tips you can help undocumented immigrants without smashing in a window. Number 1, become a host family. Put that money where your mouth is. That no human is illegal sign in your yard just became legally binding. Number 2, donate half your paycheck to immigration lawyers. You don't need rent money anyway. Social justice, housing stability. Number 3, marry one. I promise to love, honor, and protect your path to a green card until the 3-year audit do us part. Number 4, download Duolingo and learn Spanish overnight. Because nothing says solidarity like yelling, "Donde está la biblioteca?" at a deportation hearing. And lastly, number 5, read what the law actually says about immigration. Wait, it's actually a felony to re-enter after deportation? What? That's crazy.
Hey, heads up. Here comes your celebrity cheese.
All right, rumors started circulating yesterday that ex-WWE legendary wrestler Hulk Hogan was on his deathbed. That surfaced yesterday from some radio personality. Can't remember his name off the top of my head. But anyway, rest assured, according to Hulk's PR department, that he was just hospitalized to deal with some lingering back and neck issues. Gee, I wonder why. Either way, I want to wish him the best. I bumped into him one time at a local movie theater, probably about, 15 years ago, and he was as cool as a body on ice. All these kids rushed him. They just loved him. And he took them to the concession stand and bought them all candy and popcorn and soda and paid for it and kind of got out of the way, but I think he created his own distraction. But what a cool way to do it. All right, the Sean Diddy Combs trial was canceled on Tuesday because one of the jurors came down with vertigo. Now, the event happened after the jurors watched about 10 minutes of the debauchery at one of Diddy's freak-off parties, and I just want to tell the judge that this wasn't vertigo. That's what you call an orgasm. All right, if you're looking for a good cat fight, there's one brewing on Instagram between Bill Belichick's current lay, Jordan Hudson, and Bill's ex-lay, Linda Holiday. Hudson called Holiday out because of her treatment of the outgoing Miss Massachusetts, Melissa Sapini. They went to a New Year's Eve party last year, and Holiday questioned, "Why are you here?" and asked them to leave. Well, apparently, Jordan has never got over this. So we're waiting on Holiday's response, but I can't help but think with a name like Holiday, Linda will want to play for blood. Who will be the daisy in this duel? All right, Frasier star and Cheers alum Kelsey Grammer, who is 70, is expecting baby number 8. No, he can't have children. It's with his wife, Katie Walsh, who is 40. This is Kelsey's 4th wife, by the way. And this will be their 4th child together. It will be his 8th total. Now, between you and me, I really don't get why a 70-year-old guy wants to father a child he most likely won't get to see graduate from high school. I hope he does. And that's their business. So God bless him and good luck. But to be candid, I had no idea Grammer divorced Camille Donatacci. I mean, God, didn't she have some Major League Yabahos? God bless.
That's just about enough of that.
Okay. Sorry, Mom. Oh, and by the way, before I forget, I got to remind you that Britney Spears has now been single for 119 days.
Who gives a rat's ass?
Rat's Ass Podcast. Email from our Gmail.
All right, as you know, I do not read your email in advance. Fleabag forwards me your name, where you're from, and tidies them up so I can read them rapid fire on the fly, and no topic is off the table here on the Rat's Ass Podcast. Billy S. from Tacoma, Washington said, what is this obsession you have with the movie Animal House? It's a good movie, but it's not as great as you seem to think it is. Well, Billy, everybody has a movie that they really enjoy, but as I've mentioned before, and maybe you haven't heard me tell this, from the ages of 10 to 14, I grew up next to a frat house, the TKE frat house. And those guys kind of instilled a little wild and craziness, maybe buck wild and pig-eyed crazy, as they would call it. And then I kind of got into athletics, and I was in this military mindset for so long. And then I saw this movie, and it reminded me about how we can have fun again, just by having just some good, clean debauchery fun. That's what it was all about. And at that time, I think I was exploring what do you want to do with your life? It was one of those things. And to be honest, Animal House and another movie called FM led me to a career in radio. That's what it was. So I've kind of not only had a life mantra of living the Animal House lifestyle, it was also a mantra on the radio, Animal House on the radio. So it just means a lot to me. That's why. James K. Henderson, Nevada said, I met a really cool lady in a laundry room at my apartment building, and we hit it off. I wanted to thank you for the tip on where to meet women. See, I keep telling you guys, you're looking in all the wrong places for women. Okay, don't go to where everybody else is looking. Go to where nobody is looking. Nobody goes to the laundry room in an apartment building. You know, you see somebody that you like, you say, hey, she's kind of hot. Yeah, I'm going to go take a basket of laundry and see if we can meet, see if we got something that we can, connect on. Nobody else is doing it, my fiends. That's what you do. I've always swum back upstream. I never go with the party, and it's always been a good deal. For me, anyway. I think it'll work for you, too. All right, Kenzie P., Casper, Wyoming, said, I wanted to give you my Mount Rushmore of bands and get your feedback on it. Oh, this will be fun. Her Mount Rushmore of bands is the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, and AC/DC. Hey, you know what? These Mount Rushmores are personal things, so I'm not going to come down on you with it. The Beatles, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, can't argue with any of those bands. Okay, most of you know I'm not a big Beatles fan, but I will never take away from what they accomplished in such a short period of time. They were a boy band that became a rock band. Yeah, how do I know? They went from short mop hairs, getting cheered on by teenagers, to growing their hair and beards and playing rock and roll. The White Album, all that good stuff. But I'm sorry. Just can't go for the Beatles because they started out as a boy band. That's just my thing. I would go with Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, Metallica, and Aerosmith. I could have gone with Van Halen, Rush, or Pink Floyd. Van Halen, I thought, God, it's real close here between them and Aerosmith. But I went with Aerosmith because they stayed together for a lot of years. One band, Van Halen, Hagar, and David Lee Roth, both living. I went with AC/DC because, Bon Scott died. But I have a good feeling that Brian Johnson's going to live forever. He's 77 and he's still rocking. All right, Daryl B., Glendale, Arizona said, I got to know how much time you spend preparing for a 20 to 25-minute podcast. It blows me away that you have so much content that you cram into your into that amount of time. Well, I've never really thought about it. What I do know is when one ends, another one begins. And it was that way on the radio. I did 4 hours every morning and did it 5 days a week. So that was 20 hours a week. And I probably did, on average, 2 hours of prep for every show. So not only was it the 20 hours there, it was another 10 hours in prep. So, 30 to 35 hours went into prepping for a radio show every week. But I would say for every podcast, by the time we pull all the info together and put it together with Fleabag and I, it's probably 4 to 5 hours to do a 20, 25-minute podcast. Wow, that's a lot of time. This is why I don't have any free time anymore. What the hell am I doing here? All right, Manny L. from Santa Ana, California said this. Hang on, I got to get a little whiskey to make me frisky here. We're dealing with 90 degrees. Again, here in Hollywood, Los Angeles today, and I won't tell you how scantily I'm dressed today. I got your emails about that. But he said, I'm a Hispanic American born and raised here, and I'm all in for getting the illegals out of California. People don't understand they treat our country like the toilet paper we wipe our ass with. They come here and take, and that's it. My message to Gavin Newsom is, you're wrong. You're a bendejo. Translated, that's idiot or fool. Manny, you'll get no argument from me on that one. All right, Bonita M. from Baja, Mexico. She said, I was born and raised near San Diego, but I moved to Baja in 2022 because of Joe Biden allowing all these illegals to flood into the United States, and I voted for Biden. She says, I got replaced by an illegal at work and couldn't find a job for nearly 2 years because all the jobs are going to illegals who would work for less money. She says, now I get to move back to San Diego thanks to Trump. Americans need to know the truth because Democrats are lying to you. Well, I think this is what we know about the Democrats. This is what they do. They wake up every day trying to figure out how they can hoodwink us, and then when we catch them, then they start deflecting blame to somebody else. It's just who they are and what they do. All right, if you have any questions, observations, or comments, send them to my producer, Fleabag, at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. The more outrageous and salacious, the better.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head Trauma.
All right, today we are playing Head Trauma, the mystery voice. Do you think you have it? Have you figured it out? Listen up close one more time.
I was asked to play the lead in it.
If you guessed the legendary Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, baby.
All right, but if you missed it, go see a doctor about your head trauma and get well soon. I got to run, though. I'm working on a new project. We're trying to determine if cheese really belongs on a cheeseburger. It's very exciting stuff. But I do have one more thing for you. Did you know only 11% of the world is left-handed? 11%. Now, oddly, 11% of men that are left-handed are considered to be the best at speed shifting.
Before you do your shout-outs to Rat Nation.
Yeah?
Do you speed shift?
How do you know what speed shifting is, Alexa?
Tee.
See, I wanted a wise-ass iBot and AI bot, and I got one, didn't I? All right, welcome to Rat Nation, Randy Cox of Sarasota, Florida, Rick Spires of Norman, Oklahoma, and Denise Haley of Birmingham, Alabama, and to the Resistance, those of you who email us but haven't joined Rat Nation yet. I'm about ready to come looking for you like ice. Steve K., Dayton, Ohio, Marla H., St. Louis, Missouri, and Stan D. of Ruston, Louisiana. And to everybody listening to the Rat's Ass podcast in the great states or the great countries of China, Australia, Russia, Turkey, and Colombia.
Now's your chance to be one of the few and the loud. Join Rat Nation at ratsasspodcast.com. Membership does have its rewards, you know.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Rat's Ass Podcast. Be sure to connect with the new ratsasspodcast.com to connect with us on the socials. There are so many. Listen to the podcast. There are so many. Join Rat Nation and read the blog. It's loaded with current events, pop culture, music, current concert info, the radio wars, sports, our Q&A, Battle of the Sexes, plus the Dumbass Awards so far for 2025. We're going to do this again on Friday, June 20th. Take care of each other, and thanks for dropping by the Rat's Ass Podcast.
The conversation continues between podcasts on X and ratsasspodcast.com. ratsasspodcast.com.